Okay, so in this video I want to go ahead and attack a few more poses on the eyes. But before we do, I want to make sure that we have our hierarchy set up properly. So if you're to go ahead and select your head control real quick and say just rotate him to the side, you're going to see that our jaw control isn't parented properly, so it's not going to follow the face. So we want to make sure that that is set up. Okay, and so that's going to be pretty easy. All we're going to do is select our open control. Make sure that we select the group. Shift select the head control and just hit P. Okay, so we're going to direct parent that underneath of that control. Okay, so what should happen is when we grab the head and we rotate. Okay, so the weighting hasn't been fixed yet, but that's okay. We just want to make sure that that jaw is following. And then when we move, we're still going to get our blend shapes. Okay, so let's undo that a few times, give him back to his zero pose. Okay, so now let's add a couple more controls to the eyes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I want to add a surprised expression. So when I grab this eyelid, I want to be able to move him up, and I want that top eyelid and brow to move up as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our main mesh, and let's make sure that we go back to our shape editor. I'm going to select my face shapes, and I'm going to go ahead and add target. Okay, so as soon as that's done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a few faces underneath the eyelid here. Maybe just the center three. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move them up. Maybe back just a little bit. Make sure they keep the same shape of the eye. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of separation here, so I might just bring that back a little bit. Something like that. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make sure if I test out my blend shape is that right now the eyelid is moving fine, but I'm going to want the brow to also move a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that I bring this all the way back to 1. My edit is still turned on, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a few faces on this brow. Okay, and I'm going to just move them up a little bit too. Something like that. Not a whole bunch, but this should go a long way to kind of transfer that motion and keep it so it's not quite so solely isolated on the lid itself. Okay, so move those up a little bit, and let's go ahead and test that out. Okay, so that looks okay, but what I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit of movement to this other side of the brow as well. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to select my vertice right here. Move him up just a little bit. Okay, so again, let's test this out. Eyelid's going to move up. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off edit. And now I want to connect this to my eye control. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that value back to 0. Make sure that I name this appropriately. So instead of mustachio pants, let's say we name it left brow up. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go to our eye control. Alright, now we've set a limit information so that it can't go past a certain point in our Y value. So we're going to want to adjust that just a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my attribute editor and go to my upper lid control, limit information, and under my translate Y, I want my max to be, let's try 0.1 for now, and let's see how high that lets us go up. Okay, so 0.1's a little high. 0.038. If I were to move this control so that the two top controls are just about even, I mean, we'll just go with 0.04. Okay, so I'm going to go 0.04, 0.04, enter my new limit information, and make sure I zero that back out. And let's go ahead and connect that new blend shape to our eyelid control. Okay, so let's go to our animation, key, set driven key set. Okay, so load driven, load driver, and it's going to be translate Y. Let's go ahead and select our face shapes and load driven, and make sure I select left brow up. Let's go ahead and key our neutral. Okay, let's grab our brow, move it up to 0.04, and let's take our left brow up, and let's adjust that to the value of 1, and hit key. Okay, so again, test out to make sure that it works. So we've got a blink, and a nice smooth transition into our brow up. Okay, perfect. Go ahead and zero this out. I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the right hand side and connect these two up, and I'll see you guys back here in a moment.